The Border Security Force is the primary border guarding force of India. It is one of the 5 central armed police forces of the Union of India. It was raised in the wake of the 1965 war on the 1st of December 1965, for ensuring the security of the borders of India and for matters connected therewith. It is a central armed police force charged with guarding India's land border during peacetime and preventing transnational crime. It is a union government agency under the administrative control of Ministry of Home Affairs. The BSF has its own cadre of officers, but its head, designated as a Director General, since its raising has been an officer from the Indian Police Service. It is an armed force of the Union of India tasked with various assignments from time to time. The BSF has grown exponentially from a few battalions in 1965 to 186 battalions with a sanctioned strength of 2.5 lakh personnel, including an expanding air wing, marine wing, artillery regiments, and commando units. It currently stands as the world's largest border guarding force. BSF has been termed as the first wall of defense of Indian territories. History. From independence in 1947 to 1965, the protection of India's international boundaries was the responsibility of local police battalions belonging to each border state, with little interstate coordination. BSF is a central armed police force charged with guarding India's land border during peacetime and preventing transnational crime. It is a union government agency under the administrative control of Ministry of Home Affairs. It is one of many law enforcement agencies of India. It currently stands as the world's largest border guarding force. Engagements. Indo-Pakistani War of 1971. Operation Blue Star. Operation Black Thunder. Counter-insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir. Operation Vijay. Kargil War. 2001 Bangladeshi-Indian border skirmishes. 2001-2002 Operation Prakam. India-Pakistan standoff. 2013 India-Pakistan border skirmishes. 2014-15 India-Pakistan border skirmishes. Formation. The Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 demonstrated the inadequacies of the existing border management system and led to the formation of the Border Security Force as a unified central agency with the specific mandate of guarding India's international boundaries. The KF Rustamji, from the Indian Police Service, was the first Director General of BSF. Till 1965, India's borders with Pakistan were manned by the State Armed Police Battalion. Pakistan attacked Sadar Post Charbet and Baribet on the 9th of April 1965 in Kutch. This exposed the inadequacy of the State Armed Police to cope with armed aggression, due to which the Government of India felt the need for a specialized centrally controlled border security force, which would be armed and trained to man the international border with Pakistan. As a result of the recommendations of the Committee of Secretaries, the Border Security Force came into existence on the 1st of December 1965 with KF Rustamji as its first Director General. The BSF's capabilities were used in the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971 against Pakistani forces in areas where the regular forces were thinly spread. BSF troops took part in several operations, including the famous Battle of Lonchwala. In fact, for BSF, the war on Eastern Front had started well before the war actually broke out in 1971. BSF had trained supported and formed part of Mukti Bahini, and had entered erstwhile East Pakistan before the actual hostilities broke out. BSF had played a very important role in liberation of Bangladesh, which Indira Gandhi and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman had also acknowledged. The BSF, long considered a male bastion, has now deployed its first batch of women personnel at the border to carry out regular frisking of women as well as other duties performed by their male counterparts, including guarding the border. Over 100 women have been deployed on the highly volatile Indo-Pak border, while around 60 will be deployed on the Indo-Bangla border. In total, 595 women constables will be deployed on the border in different phases. List of Chiefs of BSF. Mr. KF Rustamji IPS was the first Director General of Border Security Force from the 21st of July 1965 to the 30th of September 1974, and AMP current Director General is Mr. KK Sharma IPS since the 29th of February 2016. Wagah, Hussainiwala and AMP Sadk border flag lowering ceremony. Every evening, at the Wagah, Hussainiwala and AMP Sadk border, that is the international border of India and Pakistan, the BSF together with the neighbouring countries' border guarding force, which is the Pakistan Rangers, do a military drill which both the forces from each country participate in the daily ceremony. This ceremony attracts thousands of spectators domestically and internationally from both countries. Counter-insurgency operations. Although originally charged with guarding India's external boundaries, the BSF has more recently been given the task in counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism operations in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Northeast. While in Punjab, BSF took part in Operation like Blue Star, Black Thunder 1 and AMP 2 till 1989, and when the insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir broke out in 1989, the BSF handed over the counter-insurgency operations to CRPF and Punjab Police and moved towards state of Jammu and AMP Kashmir. In Jammu and Kashmir, State Police and the thinly deployed Central Reserve Police Force struggled to cope up with the spiraling violence, and the Indian government deployed the BSF to Jammu and Kashmir to combat separatist militants. The BSF initially suffered casualties from insurgent attacks but later saw successes, including the arrest of militant leaders, after setting up an intelligence network and working with local civilians. BSF contribution in reducing militancy in J&AMP-K is widely acknowledged. The BSF killed Ghazi Baba, chief of Jaish-e-Mohammed and the mastermind of the 2001 Indian Parliament attack, in August 2003 along with his deputy commander. The BSF raided Baba's hideout in Srinagar and he was killed in the ensuing gun battle along with his deputy chief. Despite the BSF's success in a counter-terrorism role, many in the government felt that this additional burden was leading to a dilution of the BSF's mandate and degrading the force's ability to perform its primary role of guarding the country's borders. In 2006, the Indian government has decided to implement recommendations to restrict each security agency to its mandate. Thus, the 16 BSF battalions in Jammu and Kashmir are gradually being withdrawn from counter-insurgency duties and diverted back to guard the Indo-Pak border. They are being replaced by fresh units from the CRPF that have undergone specialized training in counter-terrorism, but the CRPF is yet to take over sensitive places like Tral. The 16 battalions being withdrawn from J&AMP-K were supposed to provide R&AMP-R to the battalions already deployed on the border, but with increasing Naxal violence in central India, government decided to diversify the anti-Naxal operation with the induction of ITBP and BSF. BSF was deployed in Kanker district of Chhattisgarh, where Naxal strength is comparatively thinner than that of other parts of Basta region. At present, total 15 battalions of BSF are stationed in different parts of Kanker district to combat Naxal menace. Organization: the Border Security Force has its headquarters at New Delhi and is known as Force Headquarters, headed by a Director General. Various directorates like Operations, Communications and IT, Training, Engineering, General, Law, Provisioning, Administration, Personnel, Armaments, Medical, Finance etc. function under the DG. Each directorate is headed by an IG. The Eastern Theatre is looked after by SPLDG HQ at Kolkata and the Western Theatre is looked after by SPLDG HQ at Chandigarh. Field formations in BSF are headed by an IG and are known as Frontiers Headquarters. There are 10 such frontier under which sector headquarters function headed by a DIG each. There are 31 such sectors. Each SHQ has under its command 4 to 5 duty battalions. Presently 186 battalions of sanction to BSF, 5 major training institutions and 10 subsidiary training centers are imparting ab initio as well as in-service training to its ranks and other CPOs, SPOs including IPS probationers. BSF is the only central armed police force to have its own air wing, marine wing and artillery regiments, which support the general duty battalions in their operations. The financial advisor of the BSF has been an Indian Revenue Service officer of the rank of Joint Secretary and also has DY advisors from the Indian Audit and Accounts Service and Indian Civil Accounts Service. The BSF also has a national-level school for breeding and training of dogs. Dogs from other CPOs and state police are sent to National Training Center for dogs to be trained in infantry patrol, detection of explosives, tracking and the like. The BSF maintains a air smoke unit, which is unique in India. The SU is responsible for producing tear gas munitions required for the anti-riot forces. It also exports a substantial quantity to other countries. 3 battalions of the BSF, located at Kolkata, Guwahati and Patna, are designated as the National Disaster Response Force. Each battalion maintains 18 self-contained specialist search and rescue teams of 45 personnel each, including engineers, technicians, electricians, dog squads and medics and paramedics. The establishment of each battalion is 1,158 personnel. The NDRF is a multidisciplinary, multi-skilled, high-tech force for all types of disasters and can deploy to disasters by sea and land. The battalions are equipped and trained for all natural disasters including combating nuclear, biological and chemical disasters. BSF's role during peacetime: to promote sense of security among the people living in the border areas, to prevent trans-border crimes, unauthorized entry into or exit from the territory of India, to prevent smuggling and any other illegal activities on the border, anti-infiltration duties, to collect trans-border intelligence. BSF is largely employed for internal security duties and other law and order duties on requisition of the state government. Being a central armed police force, it can be entrusted with policing duties at any place apart from its mandate. BSF's role during wartime: holding ground in assigned sectors, limited aggressive action against irregular forces of enemy, maintenance of law and order in enemy territory administered under the Army's control, guarding of prisoners of war camps, acting as guides to the Army in border areas, assistance in control of refugees, provision of escorts, performing special tasks connected with intelligences including raids. Guarding Myanmar border. The Cabinet Committee on Security is considering a proposal to entrust the border guarding duty along the Indo-Myanmar border to the Border Security Force. Presently, the 1,640 km Indo-Myanmar border is being guarded by Assam Rifles. The proposed move to guard the Indo-Myanmar border follows the proposal from the BSF to take over the role by raising 45 new battalions, 1 headquarters of additional Director General, 4 frontier headquarters to be headed by an IG rank official and 12 sector headquarters to be headed by DIG-level officials. But recent rise in insurgent activities on Indo-Myanmar border has forced the government of India to deploy a border guarding force like BSF on Indo-Myanmar border as of the 1st of March 2015. March 1, 2015, it was decided by the Ministry of Home Affairs to keep the authority of this border with Assam Rifles only. ORB-80 Western Theatre THQ Chandigarh Gujarat Frontier FHQ Gandhinagar Barma Sector Gandhinagar Sector BHUJ Sector Rajasthan Frontier THQ Jodhpur Jaisalmer I Sector Jaisalmer 2 Sector Bikaner Sector Ganganagar Sector Punjab Frontier FHQ Jalandhar Firozpur Sector Amritsar Sector Gurdaspur Sector Jammu Frontier Jammu Sector Sundarbani Sector Rajouri Sector Kashmir Frontier FHQ Humhama Distbujam Eastern Theatre HQ Kolkata South Bengal Frontier Kolkata Maldive Frontier North Bengal Frontier FHQ Kadamtala Darjeeling Shillong Frontier Tripura Frontier FHQ Agartala Mizoram Enamp Kashir Frontier FHQ Masimpur Silchar Mizoram Frontier Kashir Frontier Sialps Manipur Guwahati Frontier Proposed ORB-80 for Myanmar border. Northeast Theatre HQ Imphal Mizoram Frontier Manipur Frontier Nagaland Frontier Arunachal Frontier Rank structure. Being a central Indian police agency and having high presence of Indian police service officers, BSF follows ranks and insignia similar to other police organizations in India. There is no equivalence between the ranks of the defense forces and the police forces since there is no government-established relativity in terms of rank. Roll of Honor. The BSF personnel have been recipients of the following awards: Military Awards: Mahavir Chakra, Kirti Chakra, Vir Chakra, ATI Vishisht Seva Medal, Shaurya Chakra, Sena Medal, Vishisht Seva Medal, mentioned in dispatches. Civil Awards: Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, Prime Minister's Medal for Life Saving, Arjuna Awards. Police Medals: President's Police Medal for Gallantry, Police Medal for Gallantry, President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service, Police Medal for Meritorious Service. Arjuna Award is COMDET Nripjit Singh, Volleyball 1962, DYCOMDT Udham Singh, Hockey 1965. DYCOMDT Praveen Kumar, Athletic 1967, INSPR Jaggeet Singh, Hockey 1967, ASSDCOMDT Ajit Pal Singh, Hockey 1970, DYCOMDT Balwant Singh, Volleyball 1972. Second Commander Neil Kumar B. Ball 1974, DYINSPR Jen Mahinder Singh, Shooting 1983, ASSDCOMDT Mahabir Singh, Wrestling 1985, ASSDCOMDT Subhash Verma, Wrestling 1987, INSPR Rajesh Kumar, Wrestling 1990. INSPR Sanjay Kumar, Wrestling 1998. Equipment. All the equipment including the uniforms, weapons, ammunition, vehicles such as the bulletproof vehicles, troop carriers, logistics vehicles, mine-protected vehicles are manufactured indigenously at the Indian Ordnance Factories under control of the Ordnance Factories Board. Pistols and handguns IOF. .32 revolver 6-shot handgun, pistol auto 9mm 1A 9mm x 19mm, submachine guns and carbines Heckler & Amp Koch MP5A 3 9mm x 19mm SMG, Heckler & Amp Koch MP5K 9mm x 19mm SMG, Beretta MX4 Storm submachine guns. 68,000 SMGs procured and replaced the SAF Carbine 1A. Assault rifles AKM, large caliber assault rifle for use in CT ops, INSAS 5.56mm x 45mm assault rifle. Service rifle of the force. FNFAL completely phased out as the service rifle by the INSAS rifle but still used as a DMR. Tavor X95 the MTAR-21 version used as the standard issue carbine. Machine guns INSAS LMG, gun machine 7.62mm 1B OFB manufactured, modified 7.62mm NATO Bren. FNMAG MMG. NSVHMG, sniper rifles Vidwansak anti-materiel rifle a large caliber sniper rifle, Steyr SSG-69. Multi-role recoilless rifle Carl Gustav 84mm recoilless rifles. AGS-30 automatic grenade launcher. Artillery 81mm mortar, 51mm mortar, 120mm mortar, 105mm Indian field gun. Gallery. Air Defense MANPADS SAR-16 Gimlet in service. SAR-7 Grail in service, to be phased out. Aircraft Elite Commando Force of Border Security Force Creek Crocodile Commando are the elite commando force of BSF. It is ran of Kutch Creek. In order to thwart landing of terrorists through the sea route, BSF has formed its first commando unit Creek Crocodiles, to man the hostile creek area where India shares a border with Pakistan. Creeks are a very hostile terrain, constituting numerous raised grounds having mangroves and a network of water channels which are quite shallow where all movements are tide-dependent. Creek crocodiles are trained to thwart any evil designs from across the border. BSF Commandant Pushpendra Singh Rathore, who had created and trained the commando unit at Koteshwar outpost of BSF, said, "We have kept three things in mind while selecting cadets for the commando, including swimming and marine diving performance, firing abilities and endurance to work in the rough creek. The crocodile units have 42 commandos at present and they are undergoing vigorous training," he said. Mine-protected vehicles. According to the senior BSF officer, some MPVs have already been introduced in a number of BSF units along the border and more MPVs to be added in the coming years. Controversies with Bangladesh. According to the Bangladeshi government, 136 civilians were killed and a further 170 others suffered injuries in 2009. The Indian government has said that 67 were killed and 80 injured in 2009. The Bangladesh government and Bangladeshi organizations protest heavily against these alleged killings. Media reports claim that in August 2008, Indian BSF officials admitted that they killed 59 illegals who were trying to cross the border illegally during the prior 6 months. Indian media claimed that, in 2001, Bangladeshi border force kidnapped and murdered 16 BSF personnel personnel because they chased some Bangladeshi goons back to Bangladesh. Since then, the BSF has been compelled to act tough against Bangladeshi illegals. In July 2009, Channel 4 News reported that apparently hundreds of Bangladeshis and Indians are indiscriminately killed by the BSF along the Indo-Bangladeshi barrier. The BSF claims that the barrier's main purpose is to check illegal immigration to India and prevent cross-border terrorism from Islamists. Bangladeshi media accused the BSF of abducting 5 Bangladeshi children aged between 8 and 15. For the Haripura Patsila in Thakurgaon district of Bangladesh, in 2010. The children were setting fishing nets near the border. In 2010, Human Rights Watch issued an 81-page report which alleged over 900 of abuses by the BSF in the first decade of the 21st century. The report was compiled from interviews with victims of BSF shootings, witnesses and members of the BSF and its Bangladeshi counterpart. According to HRW, while most of them were killed when they crossed into Indian territory for indulging in cattle raiding or other smuggling activities. In February 2012, the BSF website was hacked by Bangladeshi hackers in retaliation. The hackers later shared the news in the internet and also in the other social sites where they claimed to have defaced the sites asking the BSF to stop killing Bangladeshis at border. The site became normal sometime on the 15th of February 2012. Planning and development. Facing difficulty in guarding riverine sections of Indo-Pak border, the BSF has started installing far-heen laser walls to fill the gaps which saw several breached by militants from across the border. Criticism. In 2010, some Canadian visa officials rejected the immigration application of a retired BSF soldier Moninder Singh Pandya, terming BSF a notoriously violent paramilitary unit engaged in systematic attacks on civilians and responsible for torturing suspected criminals. This accusation against one of India's elite central police force did not go down well with the Indian government. The Indian External Affairs Ministry was asked by the Home Minister to take up the issue with Canada. The Home Ministry of India, as well as the Indian public in general and several of India's political parties, have expressed outrage at this attack and have called Canada's actions discriminatory and spurious, and the charges against the BSF as baseless and unproven. The Indian government has threatened diplomatic retaliation unless they withdraw their allegations. The Canadian government did not respond immediately. It was speculated that diplomatic retaliation from India will consist of banning Canadians going to participate in the war in Afghanistan if they are doing so through India. Public outrage in India prompted Canadian authorities to express great respect for India's armed forces and related institutions. Subsequently, India's Ministry of External Affairs summoned Canadian High Commissioner Joseph Caron and demanded that the blatant discrimination against Indian security agencies cease. India's Minister of External Affairs, Ed M. Krishna, condemned Canada's actions and has expressed pride in the accomplishments of the BSF. Following complaints made by the Indian government and criticism of Canada's actions against India, the Harper government retracted their earlier accusations against BSF security officials. Canada's Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, Jason Kenney, termed as unfortunate the incidents involving use of foul language by the Canadian High Commission in visa rejection letters to some individuals. Kenney said, "This language, or the inaccurate impression it has created, in no way reflects the policy or position of the Government of Canada."